welcome to an episode of Rediscovered Movies. I'm your host, Nomfanelo. So today I'm joined by a special guest. It is not his first time on the podcast. He previously appeared in the Eddie podcast for season 4, which is a great episode. Check it out if you haven't already. And he is the co-host of Ruined Childhoods podcast. So please welcome Jon Richardson.
Thank you so much for having me back. It is a real honor.
Likewise, and it's great to having you here, Jon. So this movie we're going to talk about is an interesting one, I would say. Yeah. So we'll be talking about Virtuosity. So Virtuosity is a 1995 sci-fi action film. It is directed by Brett Leonard, who's known for films such as The Lawnmower Man and Hideaway. It is written by Eric Burns, who's known for Surviving the Game and Romeo Must Die. The film stars Denzel Washington, Russell Crowe, and Kelly Lynch.
Yeah, it
Here is
does.
the here is the synopsis. A former cop who was imprisoned for murdering the psychopath who killed his family, Parker Barnes, played by Denzel Washington, is recruited to test out a new virtual reality program where the goal is to apprehend a computer generated being called Sid 6.7, played by Russell Crowe, who has been modeled on hundreds of deranged criminals. When Sid manages to escape into the real world, Barnes must capture or destroy him before the soulless entity can go on a killing spree. So the film was released in theaters on August 4th, 1995. It had a production budget of $30 million. Dollars. In terms of box office, it made over $23.9 million. Dollars. It opened at number 4 with over $8.3 million. Dollars. It was beaten by films including Waterworld, Something to Talk About, and Babe. In terms of critical reception, it has a 2.7 rating on Letterboxd. And at the time of this recording, it is available to stream on Fubo and Super Channel and is available on demand, so check your local provider. All right, so we could get into first discoveries. So, Jon, do you want to start?
I'd absolutely love to tell you about First Discoveries, but I want
Yes.
to add to what you just said. It
Mm-hmm.
is also available in a newly released, as of this recording, very newly released 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray from Vinegar Syndrome.
Oh,
So,
wow.
which thank you for the opportunity to go out and rent the movie. I have a video rental store nearby, and I I soaked up every little morsel of that Blu-ray. But my first time watching Virtuosity, I feel like I always remembered that it was around, but didn't necessarily take its existence very seriously
Mm-hmm.
with a lot of other similar, Johnny Mnemonic. And I had remembered, I saw The Lawnmower Man when I was young, and not realizing same director or anything, I wasn't really conscious of it at the time. But it was just like another sci-fi action movie. And then about a year or two ago, I watched it, and I had the best time. It do not look at that letterboxd score of 2.7 out of 10 and say, "Oh, it's a piece of garbage movie." This movie came out 30 years ago, and it is about artificial intelligence and all of these things that are so like pertinent right now, and it's having so much fun with it. It stars two of the most, huge movie stars we have, still to this day acting, and plus Kelly Lynch. And it is so much fun. I remembered watching it and being like, this is great. We've What have I been sleeping on all this time? How about you?
Awesome. So for me, so first I wanted to correct you. So if Letterbox is out of 5 instead
Oh,
of
oh, it's out of
10,
five.
because if
Sorry.
IMDb is out of 10.
You're right.
If
You're right. You're
that's
right.
yes.
2.7 out of 5 is still criminally low.
All right. So for me, I had the VHS tape of Congo. I don't know if you remember that movie, Congo.
Come on.
Yeah.
Of course.
I mean, that is a movie for sure.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I remember growing up with one of the previews that it showed before the movie was Virtuosity.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing that often. I'm like, oh, this looks like a cool movie. Even though the effects are outdated and look like PlayStation 1 graphics, I'm like, oh, it could be a fun movie to watch. And then I bought the DVD, I would say years later. I don't remember if it was HMV or Walmart, one of the other,
Mm,
but it was for cheap essentially.
yeah.
And honestly, I thought this is a weird movie.
Right.
There's like a lot going on, and I wasn't sure like should this supposed to be taken seriously, or are we supposed to laugh at this movie? I mean, I don't know really. And then rewatching it now for the podcast, it's a strange movie. I still find honestly, it has its moments here and
Yeah.
there, but I would say for me, I did not quite like this movie as a whole.
Ooh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So we could get into the highlights section. So I don't have too much to add for this section, but do you want to start?
Oh, highlights?
Yeah.
I'll take care of highlights. Don't
Okay.
worry. Okay, first of all, Denzel Washington,
Yes.
a huge highlight. I mean, every era of Denzel Washington is so great. I just rewatched all the Equalizer movies. Knowing that we were going to be recording this, I was just like, ooh, great opportunity to just like watch a little bit more Denzel. And uh, he's so good. This is such a fun era for him. I loved just earlier than this, but Ricochet is another very like over the top actiony kind of movie that he's also so much fun in, and it's like he looks great as Parker Barnes, which is another highlight. Awesome Denzel Washington name, especially because he says it himself a couple times, and the way that he says the name Parker Barnes is amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
Um, so he looks amazing. He is taking this movie seriously as he should, and I appreciate the level of gravitas that he's bringing to it, especially in juxtaposition to Russell Crowe's very over the top performance. And this is Russell Crowe's first Hollywood movie.
Mhm.
Prior to this, he was in Romper Stomper, which was from New Zealand, and a very big character, but he's doing something very different with Sid 6.7, another amazing
Mhm.
name. Love it so much. And he is bringing something to that role that I don't know if anybody else would have made the decisions that he made. And the way that he and Denzel are playing off of each other is, I think, really strong. Um, as far as other highlights go, I do think that even though it's a silly movie where you're just like, do I take this seriously or not? It is still very fun to watch. It's easy to watch. And even though the technology, some of it is just like, I don't know, like putting an AI inside of a seemingly human thing, and the way that it can regenerate itself if it gets injured or anything. Um, I think that that's, you take that for what it is.
Mhm.
And this isn't a cautionary tale um to the extent that like every single bit of it should be like, ooh, we better be careful with AI because one day somebody's going to figure out how to put it into like a human body. I don't think that it's necessarily that, but watching it 30 years later after its release, it's really fun to kind of imagine like, ooh, how close are we to something actually like this, because it is a learning model. We have this scene where they're looking at the different iterations of Sid and how it's like, oh, they started small and then it kept on being given more information over time of all of these different serial killer profiles. And I was very engaged the entire time. So um, I think that highlights, for me, there are many.
Yeah.
And this, we're not watching, you know prestige cinema here. We're
Of
watching
course.
Virtuosity.
Yeah,
So
of course.
yeah, you grade it on like for the type of movie that it is, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So for me, yeah, I agree with you on Denzel Washington. For me, he was one of the highlights of the movie. I love how, like, with this movie, highlights that he could do action.
Oh yeah.
You mentioned Ricochet, and I did cover that film previously back in season 2 of the podcast. If you guys want to check that out,
Yeah.
but yeah,
I
it
listened to
gave
that
him.
one.
Oh, yeah, because there's some stuff there that's interesting in that movie. I'll just leave it at that if you haven't checked out the episode.
Hmm.
But anyways, yeah, like he had fun, I would say, in a way in this movie. And what else I said for Denzel? It's interesting that he has a metallic limb
Right.
similar to Will Smith in iRobot.
Right. Prior to iRobot.
Yes, yes,
Hmm.
absolutely. And it's funny that how he uses a piece of it to stop the bomb towards the end of the movie.
Right.
I
That was
thought
kind
that
of that
was
was pretty silly.
yeah, that was hilarious. And it's funny that during the last act he's wearing a gray sweater. Because usually with people in law enforcement, well, I guess he used to be, but
Right.
either or. But it's funny that he wears a gray sweater because you wonder though, isn't he hot in that sweater?
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. But he looks good. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, but it's certainly different compared to what we typically see what
right.
cops would wear. So
Well, also at that point in the movie, he's kind of working on his own because the cops are also after him because they think that he shot and killed this innocent woman, and so they kind of wrote him off, and so the cops are also chasing him. Why he's wearing a sweater, I don't know. I mean, I feel like that's an interesting choice. Actually, I bet that they did that because they didn't want to have him in like a tank top or shirtless or short sleeves because then they'd have to maybe show more of like a damaged robot arm. I mean, because his robot arm, even though it's robot, it has human skin and everything over it. So
hmm
maybe they were just like, well, if he gets hit there, then we don't have to necessarily show and do all the visual effects for it. I don't know. I'm just kind of like
I mean,
giving them an out.
yeah, who knows?
Who
Who
knows?
knows? Yeah. But either way, like it's a choice for sure to wear
Yeah,
that sweater.
totally.
Yeah.
So
I would
that's a
say
highlight for you.
yeah, with Denzel Washington overall in
Yeah.
this movie. The action scenes I found they're entertaining.
Yeah. Totally.
I wouldn't say it's like high art with the action scenes itself, but they were quite fun to watch. I would say for me, the highlights of those were when Barnes is chasing Sid. This was during the whole nightclub
Mm,
sequence.
yeah.
I thought that was
That
quite
nightclub was
fun.
ridiculous.
Yeah, and then you had like the essentially the theme song of the movie play in the background, so
Hmm.
that was cool to watch. And also too the final fight between them when they're in the building was quite
Oh
cool to
yeah.
watch. Yeah.
When they're on top of the building.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
Hmm. Absolutely. And I would say too, as another highlight, I find some of the scene transitions are quite hilarious. Like there's an example when Barnes, Madison, everyone they're at the office talking about Sid,
Mm.
and then it suddenly cuts to Sid wearing that purple suit
Oh, the
in the
staying
sun.
alive
Yeah.
Saturday Night Fever moment. Hmm.
I found like that was hilarious and quite unexpected.
Yeah.
But if that was planned, then wow, just
So,
wow.
okay. Having just watched the new Blu ray with
Hmm.
a very recently recorded commentary track with director Brett Leonard, he did speak about it. And
Oh,
he said, like, they thought, hey, it would be really funny if we could do this. And because it's the same studio as Saturday Night Fever, they were able to get Staying Alive and do that thing. And so, when they were filming it on a boombox, they were playing it while he was doing the walk and everything. And so it was that was a planned thing. They had in mind that that's what they wanted to do, and they made it happen.
wow, wow! I did not know that, but wow, that's
Oh,
interesting.
it's a great commentary track.
Okay,
I don't
Then
know if
I need to I need to check that out. So
oh, yeah, it's really great. Can I tell you one other awesome thing that I learned while listening to the commentary track, and what can
yeah.
kind of this can be a bit of a highlight, and since we're talking about Denzel.
Mm-hmm.
So Brett Leonard came to him with the script for this while he was working on Crimson Tide. And, at this time, Denzel is doing a lot more serious movies, obviously off his work with Spike Lee. And he is approached with this script that is very much against the type of acting that he's doing at this time. And if it wasn't for a, I don't know, 9-year old John David Washington, we would
Mm-hmm.
not have Denzel Washington in this movie because his son said, Dad, you should do something fun like this sci fi movie because, you're doing all of these serious movies. Do something that's really fun. And
Yeah.
so he said, you know what? For you, I will do this. And this is all according to Brett Leonard. So
Mm-hmm.
allegedly. But yeah, it's because of now huge famous actor John David Washington that we have Denzel Washington in Virtuosity.
Wow, that's great because I think I did heard that before
Mm,
in another podcast, but
mm,
yeah, that's a fascinating
yeah,
story for sure. And then with John David Washington, he ended up doing his own sci-fi film with Tenet.
I know. I love Tenet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Also, too, another funny transition. It was during the end credits because they
Mm,
played the theme song essentially when he's on top of the roof, and
yeah.
then it cuts to some ballad type song.
Okay.
I found that was a hilarious moment.
Right. So Peter Gabriel,
Yes.
who performs that song,
Mm-hmm.
had done a lot of work with Brett Leonard, who did a lot of like music videos with him. So they were really tight. So I think that
Oh,
that was
okay.
just like a, hey, we're gonna have my buddy do the song. So yeah, that song is not fitting, I don't think, with the movie itself, but uh, we can call it a highlight, we can call it a low light,
Yeah.
but it exists and it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I do agree with you with the commentary on the relevance of this
Mm,
movie in regards to AI and all that stuff. But I think also too brings up another thing that when essentially Sid throughout this movie, he's craving attention, wants the cameras on him and all that stuff. Like it really points out that how violence sells
right. Yeah.
because especially during the final act when he has the deaf TV, we see that after he shoots the guest, the numbers spiked up, which is insane.
Sensationalism, wanting to
Yes,
just be an influencer. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
And also
And
things
yeah, go
about
ahead.
about things being ahead of their time. That
hmm
TV network was like an internet connected TV network where the whole thing of it is how the audience engagement in real time like influenced how the show went. And so they actually had those meters because that's not something that happens. But
Yeah,
with internet connection, which at the time, maybe some people were on AOL, but aside
yeah.
from that, there was no, the internet was extremely different from the way that it is now. So uh, that was certainly ahead of its time.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I wonder though, like if this movie was made today, how this would have been received. I mean,
I don't think that it would be. I think that a lot of people wouldn't be like surprised by it because
yeah.
there everything seems like, well, yeah, well, of course, yeah, we all know.
Absolutely. Um, I would say, yeah, the cast overall did a great job with this movie. Yeah, as you highlighted before, Russell Crowe, I thought he did a great job, and they had their great chemistry, obviously. And I think they worked again in American Gangster.
Yeah,
So, and it's
Ridley Scott.
interesting. Yeah, because interesting with this movie, Russell Crowe is a bad guy, Denzel Washington is a good guy, but
Yeah,
in that movie, it's reversed. Well, Denzel is the bad guy, but Russell
right.
Crowe is the good guy. So
hmm
I found that was quite cool.
Yeah, and even though they're not in the same iteration, but the Gladiator movies, of course, uh,
hmm
again with Ridley Scott, one is in one is in the other, but
Yeah,
they're in the same universe.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And as a final note I had for this section, I found it's funny that during that whole UFC sequence, the
Mm.
audience is shouting "Kapow!"
Can I tell you something about that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the kapow, 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 kapow.
Yeah.
When I first heard it, I was like, "Oh my god, this is so ridiculous." Uh, but listening to the commentary track with Brett Leonard, he was telling a little bit more information about that. Do you know the person who suggested that they do the kapow thing? I want to say it's Richard Rudolph. Oh, I hope it's not Robert Rudolph. Its last name is Rudolph. Maya Rudolph's father.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Was he
So there
working in
you
the
go.
movie, or
What's that?
was he working in the movie, or?
I guess so. I think that he just did a lot of like music supervision type work. I'm gonna look it up real quick. Richard Rudolph, American songwriter, musician, publisher, and producer. So he was involved. Um, and yeah, and so that was there. But also, this is the first movie that ever had like UFC in it because
Oh
uh,
really?
Brett Leonard was just like, this is the future of like sports entertainment, and he was totally right on the money with that. So
Wow.
the foresight to
Okay.
actually include that is pretty incredible.
Wow, that's interesting for sure. Because I thought like the first movie, at least that I've seen that had UFC, was Here Comes the Boom, the Kevin James
Right,
movie.
which was years after this.
Yeah, which I covered last season. If you
Of,
haven't checked that
of
out,
course
but
you did. So wait, I have a quick question. I have a quick question.
yeah,
So
yeah.
for anybody who maybe doesn't see any of the like clips that you post, um, I know that at least for the episodes that I've done for this show,
Mm-hmm.
right now you're wearing a Terminator 2 t-shirt,
Yes,
which
yes.
thematically goes with Virtuosity. When we
Mm-hmm.
recorded our episode on Eddie, which is
Yeah.
about it's a 90s NBA movie, you wore a Space Jam shirt.
Yes.
Do you always wear a t-shirt that thematically goes with the movie you're covering, or am I just lucky?
Probably a bit of both, honestly,
Okay.
because I don't have a shirt for every movie that I
Well,
cover.
well, I
But
was wondering, I mean, it's like, what would you have done for Here Comes the Boom?
I just wore like a regular shirt that
Oh,
day, so
so I'm
yeah.
just lucky that I happen to be
Yeah,
doing stuff. Also,
yeah.
in speaking about the other movie that I talked to you about, I love that I get to come on and talk to you about these, especially these iconic black actors who
Mm-hmm.
were, I don't know if maybe the 90s, yeah, I guess like the 90s were like the peak of their success, or at
Mm-hmm.
least like when they like really really hit. So to talk about Whoopi Goldberg with you, and then also Denzel Washington is a real joy.
Yeah.
I had a dog named Denzel for quite
Wow.
some time. I love Denzel Washington so much. He's so fantastic, and uh,
Wow.
it's always a treat to talk about him. Um, and now it makes me want to like get a dog and name it Whoopi, because I mean, to celebrate such amazing iconic actors, especially in like maybe my favorite era of movie making, is a
Yeah.
real joy. So anyway,
Wow, that's
we've
cool.
gone way
That's
off topic.
cool. But yeah, I was gonna ask, where would this movie rank for you amongst Denzel's filmography?
I don't know if I've seen everything he's done because he's incredibly prolific. I'm really excited to see his new one with Spike Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we're recording this probably way before it's going to come out, so not to date stamp things too much, but I would say this is probably like mid tier Denzel
Mm-hmm.
for me. Although it's like he doesn't really do any stinkers.
Right.
Can you
Yeah.
name one bad Denzel Washington movie? You know, I didn't love Gladiator 2, so I think that this would rank for me a little bit higher above Gladiator 2.
Okay. I haven't seen Gladiator 2, but I heard he was great in the movie.
He was really great in it, but I just
Yeah.
didn't love the movie itself, especially compared to Gladiator 1.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. How about you? Where does this rank for you for Denzel
Yeah.
movies?
I'm probably the same boat as you, probably mid tier, I
Yeah.
would say.
But it sounds
Um,
like you didn't love Virtuosity.
I mean,
Or
it's
is it more about
entertain.
his performance?
I would say the movie is entertaining, like it has its moments, but just overall, like because I'm a writer myself, like
Mm,
I like just the inconsistencies of plots and all that stuff is just not great,
it was just a bit of a
honestly.
mess for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. So is there anything else you wanted to add it for highlights?
No, I'm sure we're gonna find more things to come back to for that, but
All right.
happy to move on.
Okay, let's get into the lowlights. Um, so apparently, like with the whole virtual aspect of this
Hmm.
movie is part of a training program for law enforcement, and I'm just
Hmm.
wondering why. Like, why is there a virtual training program for law enforcement?
Great
Because I
question.
didn't quite get the necessity of it. Because had, let's say, it was in an environment where, let's say, police officers were getting killed, or I don't know if there were budget cuts or something, then maybe I would kind of get the use of it. But since it did not explore either of those, I didn't really get the point of this training program, to be
Yeah, and they were
honest.
using prisoners to test it out, but using
Yeah.
prisoners as police. And I get it for Parker Barnes, great name. But for the
Hmm.
other inmate who they had at the beginning coming in, I don't remember if he had any connection with law enforcement. I think he was just a regular old prisoner.
Yeah. And he died, unfortunately, while doing that program.
I know.
Shame.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier about the police, how essentially they just said Barnes is guilty when that whole shootout was
Mm.
happening with Sid on the train. I just find overall in this movie the police are quite dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I think that that's kind of nice because it's not that it's not that it's true that police are dumb. It's not like a blanket statement, but it's
Yeah,
also like that the police aren't always right.
yeah.
And you can be very quick to make a judgment, especially
Hmm.
since they are taking a leap of faith on bringing in, even though he was like a lieutenant, in the police force prior to being an inmate, he is on like a prison release program where like he will be fully released
Hmm.
if he brings in Sid or kills Sid 6.7. Um, so yeah, they are just like very quick to decide. Oh nope, you messed up. You're done.
Yeah, because I just didn't find believable that people on the scene automatically believe that Barnes shot the woman. Because had the woman, let's say, been facing uh forward outside, then yeah,
Hmm.
I would get that choice. But she was sideways, and
Right.
we obviously saw the gun behind her. So,
Yeah, and the Kelly Lynch character, Dr.
hmm,
Madison Carter, uh,
hmm,
she even points out to William Forsythe's character, who is he's the one cop who like believes in Parker Barnes, but he's kind of the intermediary. But she convinces him, but he's like, well, I can't, there's no way
yeah,
I'm going to convince all of them to
hmm.
stop doing what they're doing. So yeah,
Yeah, and speaking of Billy, I didn't get his relationship with Barnes. Like, did they knew each other? Were they former partners? I
I'm
didn't quite
assuming
get
that
that.
because Billy, who's
Mm-hmm.
the William Forsythe's character, who's the chief, who by
Mm-hmm.
the way is basically the same exact character that he was in, or that he becomes in The Rock a year later. Uh, have you covered The Rock?
No, I have not.
That's surprising.
But I have seen
um,
it. I have seen it.
it's
Yeah.
so good. So anyway, but he is a chief, so I'm wondering if he was Parker's chief before. I don't know,
Yeah.
but they like each other and they trust each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah. Because I figured they had some sort of close relationship. I just wondered what was it at
Hmm.
the end. So I don't know. It could have been more defined, but oh well.
Right. Yeah.
And I want to talk about Sid. So essentially, with Sid in this movie, he has like these multiple different serial killers implanted in his software. But I just feel
Hmm.
like, that wasn't quite utilized effectively, because essentially I think he chose what, one or two. He mainly used the Grimes persona to
Right.
intimidate Barnes, obviously, but I just feel like it could have been better used while in the movie.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we see him bring out the Charles Manson by writing like "Death to Pigs" on the wall, which is kind of how we know, I guess, that it's Sid 6.7 who does that.
Hmm.
But it's like he's got like 198 other personalities in him. Where are those guys?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean they make a point to say it's like, oh, it's John Wayne Gacy and Jeffrey Dahmer and all these other people. Real serial killers, in addition to Matthew Grimes, are fictional serial killer who kills Parker Barnes's family.
Hmm.
Yeah, you're right. They really missed opportunities to include a little bit more, because it's like, oh, it's Parker Barnes. I'm gonna just bring this one to the top of the list and be the Matthew
Hmm.
Grimes guy the whole time.
Right.
So yeah, totally agree.
Yeah. And I don't know, I feel like in ways with Sid, like it was probably a bit too easy for him to adjust to the real world. I don't know if that
Mm,
was just me, but
yeah, he has that one moment where he's just like, whoa, gravity, weird. And then
yeah.
suddenly he's just like, all right, I know how to get everywhere. I know how to do everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But oh well. Also too, we need to talk about Daryl. The person that was running the virtual program,
Right.
essentially.
Hmm.
I didn't get what was his deal at the end, because essentially, obviously, when the first session went haywire with Donovan dying and all that stuff,
Hmm.
he's ordered by Elizabeth and William to shut down the program, and he's
Right.
clearly upset with that. But then he decides to put Sid in the real world for what? To teach him a lesson, or
I think so. I mean, it's Sid's idea and plan to bring him into the real world, because there's that moment where Daryl, played by Steven Spinella,
mm-hmm,
um, we see Sid talking to him, and he's like, "All right, come here. I'm going to tell you the plan," and then we cut to another scene.
mm-hmm.
And from that point on, Daryl's just like completely unhinged and like hiding out in a motel room.
Yeah, because if especially if since like he knew what we was gonna do, like why did he act scared and just ran away? Like I didn't
I don't
get
know if he was
that.
just like, all right, I made this happen, and now I'm just gonna sit back and watch the show. Um, I don't know, but yeah, he's just completely unhinged, and
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, that could have been maybe dealt with a little bit better. And also, it's like you've got William Fichtner, and you
Mm-hmm.
have iconic Louise Fletcher
Mm-hmm.
from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Mm-hmm.
It's the two of them who are kind of the ones who are controlling that program.
Yeah.
And those characters could have been a little bit better defined. They seem to just pop in just when they needed to explain things.
Yeah. Essentially. Mm-hmm. Um and what else too? That so apparently Sid has this I don't know how to describe it, this glowing sphere thingy that keeps him alive. So I just wonder, is that supposed to be like a memory chip or
Oh,
his
the little
brain?
like the thing that's inside of his.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's his processor. Um so yeah, I mean, of course it's in some sort of like weird casing. Uh and to speak about that, and we can call this a low light. Something that felt weird to me is at the end, and I guess if anybody's listening to this, they're prepared to hear spoilers and everything. But like,
Mhm.
Denzel gets that chip, and then he's on the top of this building, and he throws it off the top of the building. And if I'm just thinking like, how does he know that's gonna just break forever, and that a car's gonna run over it? How does he know that like somebody isn't gonna like it's just not gonna break and somebody's gonna find it? And now Sid 6.7 is just like, in the hands of somebody who might know what to do with it or something. But it seemed weird. I feel like there needed to have been a more dramatic, referencing your t-shirt again, like some sort of
Hmm.
Terminator 2 moment where it like gets melted down into some like, molten material where it's just obliterated.
Honestly, I didn't really think much of it when that happened, but
Mhm.
yeah, I see your point. It could have been better, obviously, but
Yeah,
it's just
disposed
we,
of.
yeah, but it's just weird that it's in this sphere thingy. But
Yeah,
yeah,
totally. I mean, that's just a thing for the theatrics of it all and looking
yeah,
futuristic.
yeah, probably, yeah. That's all I had essentially. But is there anything else you wanted to add?
Well, yes, because there's one character that we didn't even talk about even for a second, and that's Karen, played by a very young Kaylee Cuoco,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
Dr. Madison Carter's daughter, who the second you meet her, you're just like, oh, she's dead meat. Like, there's no way they're gonna just show this like precocious little kid and she's gonna be fine. Like, of course, Sid 6.7 is gonna kidnap her and strap a
Yeah,
bomb to her.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, the second you see her and the second she's like, asking Denzel cute questions, like, should a
Hmm.
first baseman always be left-handed or whatever? Like, you're just like, oh, she's too cute and precocious to survive this movie, or at least come out of it without like severe psychological trauma.
Yeah.
So, and honestly, it's like maybe this is also the first time that we're seeing how well Denzel can play off of like a precocious blonde haired little white girl, leading to Man on Fire, which of course is like the much better version. And
Obviously.
and then we see this time again with him, but uh yeah, I don't know. Like I felt for me like, oh, come on. Of course there's gonna be like a little girl that you're gonna have to save because
Yeah.
your daughter was blown up or whatever. So
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. That to me was just like, oh boy. And to her credit, Kayla Cuoco was totally good in this. And for her first movie, good on her. And
Yeah.
congratulations on all of your future successes. But
Yeah.
to me, it was just like a oh boy kind of a low light. Also, if we're talking low lights, I feel like the character of Dr. Madison Carter,
Hmm.
Kelly Lynch's character,
Hmm.
I do feel like she was maybe underserved a little bit. We do have a woman in this movie who is of some prowess. Um, you know, good on them for giving us like an intelligent woman that there's not a romantic connection with. I feel like that's
Hmm.
so obvious that it would have been, and they didn't do that. So good on them.
Yeah.
And I feel like she's such a smart person, but she's so dumb not to realize, oh, this serial killer is going to come after me and my family.
Yeah.
Like she should
Yeah.
have done more to protect her daughter, knowing that like she's a psychologist, like a serial killer expert. She should
Hmm.
know this person's going to target anybody that they can, and she didn't even
Yeah.
think about that for herself. So that to me felt like a little bit of a misstep there.
Yeah, probably was an oversight, but yeah, I would agree for sure.
Hmm.
And I just forgot this point. So
Hmm.
we need to talk about that whole flashback sequence with Grimes and
Yeah.
Barnes. So after his family is killed, it's funny that essentially Barnes goes rogue and starts shooting everybody.
Well,
Like I
that's
do
what.
get I get
Yeah,
like his frustration obviously, but it's funny that like after he kills Grimes, I don't know if this was an accident or intentional, but he shot the two reporters.
and that's what he's in jail for. You know,
Okay.
he's in prison because he killed innocent people, and
Yeah.
and that was and when we first are really meeting Parker Barnes in the real world, and he's talking about what happened, he makes some sort of comment about like, oh, because I had like a psychological break. Or like
Mhm.
he says something to that effect, where it's just like, oh, because temporary insanity or something like that, because he just watched his wife and daughter get exploded,
Mhm.
and he's just trying to kill the laggies for Matthew Grimes. in addition to Matthew Grimes. And of course, like he quickly turns around and just shoots the first people that he sees, and it happens to be the reporters,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is an interesting choice, seeing how things go towards the end of this movie, where there's the Is TV, that this TV station that's like internet connected, where it's like, you know, TV, the news is in everybody's face, and it's like if you aren't there to be the one reporting it, you are not relevant in the news cycle, which we're seeing so much of in real life, where it's just
Mm-hmm.
like we're so quick to just get news out. It's, maybe not completely fact checked, or maybe there's things that are missing, or there's context that's missing. So uh yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a little also on them to be like, get out of the way.
Yeah, yeah, because he did told them to stay down, but I guess they
Right.
couldn't help
They
themselves,
couldn't help
right?
themselves. Also, okay, how good did Denzel look with his arm blown off, like charging down that hallway with his shirt off and everything? He looked
Yeah.
real good.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
But like with him facing 17 years, I wasn't sure like if it was for the two reporters specifically or was for killing everyone that was in that place. That was
I
a
think it
bit
was those
unclear.
reporters, because I feel like all the other
Okay.
people were probably connected with the kidnapping and Matthew Grimes. That's just my
Okay.
assumption. I don't know.
Okay, because I wasn't too sure on that because like if it
Mm.
was like for everyone that I find that's just BS honestly though. But
Right.
for the two reporters, I mean I get that obviously, but
Yeah.
yeah. So we could get into the trivia. So I didn't really find a lot on IMDb, but I'm sure you
Mm.
could chime in like with the commentary that you've watched obviously on your Blu-ray.
Sure.
So
And shout out to distributor Vinegar Syndrome for putting this all together. There's another commentary track I didn't listen to that's with a film historian, but I figured I'd just go to the director one. Um, I think that aside from the things that I've already mentioned, the one other
mhm,
thing that I think is good to talk about is how this predates The Matrix by several years,
mm,
and uh, and the Matrix does a lot of the things that are also in this movie. So there are very similar scenes. Um, everybody trying to shoot Parker Barnes as he's in like the lobby of that one building is very similar to that you know the end of the Matrix when they're in the kind of lobby of that building.
mhm,
Also, at the very beginning, when we are in the virtual world and there's all of the people who look and dress exactly the same, and he's kind of walking
yeah,
through that, that's very similar to the Matrix. And what Brett Leonard says in the commentary is how he ran into the Wachowskis uh, when, like, after they had, I think it was maybe when they were making the second or third Matrix movie, and the Wachowskis gave him, and this is all allegedly, this is his
mhm,
version of what happened, but they gave him credit for kind of paving the way for them to do this, much higher budget version of, what he was doing a lot of in Virtuosity. And
wow,
uh, he says that he loves the Matrix and thinks that it's absolutely amazing, and but is kind of patting himself on the back at the same time, saying just like, yeah, I gave them the idea for this and that, but who knows
mhm.
the actual reality. You have to talk to the Wachowskis about that.
Yeah, that's great. So, so one of the facts that I found is that apparently Paramount they were gonna consider to cast Arnold Schwarzenegger as Barnes, but he was out of contention because he asked for a high
Mm,
paycheck, essentially.
yeah. They I watched a little featurette about the casting. I don't remember them bringing up Arnold Schwarzenegger, but also it's
Hmm.
like that wouldn't be surprising, because like this is like him at the top of his, I guess, salary negotiations. This is, he's just like the hottest action star out there. Of course, they would want to go to Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Hmm.
I mean, who wouldn't?
Yeah, but I think it would be a different kind of movie had he been in it.
Yeah.
But
Denzel brings the emotion, and
yeah.
like he is a refined actor. There's so much more
Hmm.
nuance when you get Denzel Washington in there. the way that he responds in like regular old situations, you're not going to get that. And I love Arnold Schwarzenegger, but
Yeah.
like you're just not going to get that from him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also,
Yeah.
it's like if you get Arnold Schwarzenegger, he wouldn't work against Russell Crowe. I
Right.
don't know like who you would put him up against that would kind of fit correctly without it
Mm-hmm.
seeming just like a regular old Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
You certainly couldn't have the like over the top type of performance that Russell Crowe is giving. You kind of need that to go against a Denzel Washington, a very serious type of person. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Absolutely. And if you remember the moment when Sid it dives into the UFC ring essentially from the
Hmm.
balcony, apparently the Australian flag is shown,
Oh,
which is
really?
interesting. Yeah, and apparently Russell Crowe requested that to honor his roots essentially.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I probably need to watch that scene again to see it, but I found that was quite fascinating when I first read this on IMDb.
Very cool. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Hmm.
Speaking of Russell Crowe, and I
Yeah.
don't know exactly how accurate this is, but Russell Crowe, his band, 30 Odd Foot of Grunts, does have a song in the movie.
Hmm.
And uh, the name of the band, 30 Odd Foot of Grunts, is allegedly because when they were doing like ADR for Virtuosity,
Hmm.
um, they basically were saying, we need this much footage. So the 30 odd foot refers to like how much tape they would need or footage
Hmm.
they would need of just Russell Crowe grunting. And so allegedly he said, "Hey, that'd make a good band name." And then this band that he had that had already been formed, I think that they decided to just go with that name allegedly.
Wow, interesting. That's interesting. And the last fact that I found is that apparently, according to Kelly Lynch,
Mm.
she and Denzel Washington were supposed to kiss. However,
Mm.
Washington decided to drop it because he felt the interracial love scene would hurt the film's box office chances.
I've heard that about a lot of Denzel Washington movies where
Oh.
there is like an intended romantic situation between him and a white co-star.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also heard that about from like other movies that because especially at this time, he is a sex symbol and he is a sex symbol, in a very unique way for black women
Mm-hmm.
and straight black women, I should say. And for him, he thought they will not respond well if they see me in a romantic pairing with a white woman.
Mm.
And I feel like to even like whether or not that is true, it helps the movies that he's in when there isn't like an obvious romantic thing happening with a character.
Mm-hmm.
Because think about if that would track for Parker Barnes, for
Yeah.
him to then end up in a romance with this woman, um, regardless of her race, because he is so motivated by the death of his wife. Like, I feel like it would seem odd for him to, even though she's no longer with us, he's still very much in love with his wife, and it wouldn't feel true to his character to just kind of end up with another woman. I mean, I love the way that he and Madison have their, this respect for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And for it to go into a different territory definitely wouldn't work for me. It wouldn't work for the movie, I think, too.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with you on that one because I think from a story perspective, it just would not make sense at all unless if they establish that early on in the movie by giving hints of that.
Hmm.
But I just think other than that, like it just would not make
Yeah.
sense at all for them to kiss because they're kind of like colleagues as
Yeah.
opposed
And you
to.
know what? I
Hmm.
remember I remember hearing the same thing. It was from the Pelican Brief with
Hmm.
uh with Julia Roberts.
Yeah.
It was the same reason why they never got together.
Yeah. Which made sense too for that movie. So
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that Denzel Washington also does at this point in his career have the power to make that call and for it to
Yeah.
stick. And so
Hmm.
good on him.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Eh.
can
Oh,
I
go
go back
ahead.
to something?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
were asking where this ranks in my Denzel Washington movies. Do you have a
Hmm.
favorite Denzel Washington movie?
I mean, that's tough.
This is the hardest question. He's so
Yeah.
good.
Because it's been a while since I've seen a couple of them.
Hmm.
Man on Fire, I would say, is up there.
It's
I
really good.
enjoyed. I enjoyed Inside Man.
I was going to say Inside Man for mine.
Oh,
I love it. It's
okay.
so good.
Yeah, that's a good one. Don't see the direct to DVD sequel for that one.
I didn't know there was one.
Yep, there is, and it's not
Okay.
good.
I will not watch it.
It's
We'll
not
pretend it.
good.
I'm going to go back to 2 minutes ago where I didn't even know it existed.
So funny. All right. So, I mean, we have the most important question to answer. Should this movie be rediscovered?
Yes. I
Hmm.
I know you don't love this movie as much as I do, but this movie is candy to me.
Yeah.
And when you asked me if I wanted to do Virtuosity, I
Hmm.
could not have been happier. I was so psyched. This movie to me is just pure joy. Um, it's over the top. It's silly, but it's
Hmm.
also got like great performances in it. It has introduced the world to Russell Crowe,
Yeah.
and it let everybody know what he's capable of,
Hmm.
and it propelled him into a very fruitful career. And we've seen him, in amazing performances since this one. Um, that question for you: do you have a favorite Russell Crowe movie?
Oh gosh, I haven't seen too many. I
Okay,
need to think about that one. I would say LA Confidential is up there, even though it's a supporting role. But
it's still really good.
yeah, yeah.
For me, it's The Nice Guys. Have you seen The Nice Guys?
Oh yeah, I love the nice guys, and I
Yeah,
did. I covered that for our
I listened to that one.
podcast.
I listened to that one. Yep.
Yeah.
I listened to that one when I was before I went on the Eddie episode, because, or maybe it was around the same time as that one. But like, yeah, it made me very happy to hear you talk about that
Yeah,
one.
like there needs to be a sequel for that movie, but I don't know if
I
that's gonna
know,
happen.
it's so good. The two of them together are brilliant. Anyway,
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
but yes, I would say people should absolutely rediscover this movie. It is
Hmm.
a treat.
All right, so here's what I'm going to say. So it's one of those movies where you could turn your brain off and
Hmm.
enjoy it, which is absolutely fine. Even though for me, from a story perspective, it's just a mess.
Hmm.
Had, let's say, this movie been more self-aware in terms of the over-the-top, the campiness and all that stuff, then yes, I would recommend it on that front. But since it's not really sure to either to take itself seriously or to have fun with it, I would not recommend this movie. But I would say go check it out anyways. And I would love to know your thoughts on this movie. So
Yeah.
there is that.
Uh, have you ever seen The Lawnmower Man?
No, but
Ooh.
I've heard it's not great.
It is not great, but it is also really fun, and it's a great companion piece for Virtuosity. Um, I mean, the same director
Hmm.
makes so much sense for them. The way that
Hmm.
VR is handled in that one, that was a $5 million movie that made like $200 million,
Hmm.
and it's the reason why Virtuosity could get made, especially with Brett Leonard. And that one was like introducing the world in cinema to virtual reality. And the story itself is completely bananas, and I say that with so much love. Jeff Fahey is the main character, the Lawnmower Man. It's based on a Stephen King short story that is so not even close to what Stephen King wrote. Stephen King is just like, please take my name off of this, and Pierce Brosnan plays Dr. Angelo. and as being like the serious guy, and it's another one that's just kind of like candy. And so
Mm.
if you're gonna go for it, watch them with a few friends, do a double feature, and that's how I would recommend somebody approach these.
All right, so there you guys have that. So that pretty much concludes this episode of the podcast. So where can people find you, John, and also plug in your podcast?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a very easy crossover to the podcast that I do called Ruined Childhoods. And that is a movie where my brother Dan and I, we talk about cult and classic movies and movies that maybe should be classic movies. Uh, and we theorize how we would kind of bring them back with a sequel, a prequel, or something else to honor the continuing legacy of these movies. And it's some of it's just like to be silly and fun and give us an opportunity to just like watch these movies again and talk about them. So when this comes out, we'll probably be in our fourth season. We're about to just wrap up our first 300 episodes,
Hmm.
and our fourth season is going to be a lot of fun. I don't want to say what it is just in case we change our minds, but we just wrapped up a year's worth of movies where we went 52 episodes, 26 going from A to Z alphabetically
Hmm.
by title, and then 26 Z to A. And it was tempting to do Virtuosity for a V movie, but we had too many other good options. So it was just like, it's okay. I get to talk about Virtuosity anyway on Rediscovered Movies. So, but
That's
yeah,
awesome.
we're at Ruined Childhoods Pod on Instagram and at Ruined Childhoods on TikTok. We post clips from our recordings, and ruinedchildhoodspod.com is where you can find a whole bunch of stuff. And we do video episodes on Spotify and YouTube, and then it's just audio everywhere else. But it's so much fun to do, and I just love talking about movies. And I I don't know if people do chime in and talk about their virtuosity love or dislove. Please share it with me because I just want to soak it in.
Absolutely. So, for me, you could find me on Instagram, X, Blue Sky, YouTube, and Linktree at Nomfanelo. You can find the podcast on Instagram, X, Blue Sky, YouTube, and Linktree at RD Movies Pod. You can visit buymeacoffee.com/RD Movies Pod to support the podcast via donation and also to look at exclusive posts there. You could join the Rediscovered Movies Hub, which is our community group on our official Wix website, which is rdmoviespod.wixsite.com/official, where you can interact with others, share thoughts on the podcast, and more. On Spotify, you can answer the featured poll, leave a comment, and rate the podcast. You can leave your review and rate the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, and Podchasers. And you can submit questions, comments, and suggestions by email, which is rediscoveredmovies@gmail.com, or you can fill out our contact form on our link tree to be featured on a Q&A episode, which will air after the end of the season. All right. We're pretty much done with this episode. So, John, any final notes you want to share?
Oh, just thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to rewatch this movie and to talk about it with you. It's been so much fun.
Absolutely. So, thank you, John, for being a guest again on the podcast. And I want to thank you for checking out this episode and hopefully could check out the next one.